despite how gloomy it may be outside, this lift will be fucking killer. That's I don't know, that's one thing I've never really noticed. When people sort of get really kind of upset by bad weather. Maybe not upset, but you know, like, oh man, it's so shitty. And they kind of have almost a little bit of a bad mood because of it. I don't know, man. I guess if you gotta fucking be outside all day, you're probably not gonna be having too much fun. But otherwise, whatever. Rain or shine, the weight's still gonna get lifted. So no problem in my eyes. But let's before I actually go to the gym to hit back, I need to fucking fill up the gas tank. So in terms of back, I'm pretty excited to go to this particular gym just because they have a ton of back equipment, which I wouldn't usually at least which I don't usually see in most, at least commercial gyms for sure. Because they're going to have chest supported T-bar. They're going to have some real old school, not even hammer strength rows. I'm pretty sure they have one. It's a clip of Dorian Yates doing single arm machine rows. And the handle is just like a vertical bar. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But... yeah. There's a lot of really good back equipment here. So, not that I think you absolutely need the most cutting edge equipment to get a good back day. But it doesn't hurt. It definitely does not hurt. So, even though there's going to be all sorts of fancy shit, the basic outline, the basic skeleton of the lift is going to be the same. Rows, pull downs, pullovers. So even though maybe I'll do a machine pullover or a dumbbell row or a normal cable pull down, no matter what combination of whatever, I think that's really all you need, you know? And to overcomplicate it by like, I just don't think there's any point. If whatever movements you're doing, you can feel your back working, and, well, what am I even saying here? If you feel your back working, then it's working. You know, go heavy, get a pretty solid squeeze. That's all I can really say to anybody. In terms of whether or not you should do like a lat biased day or a, you know, mid back biased day, that's really kind of up to you. For me, I've always been sort of, well, my back days are pretty much just my whole back every day. Some days I might do a little bit more lat work, and some days I might do a little bit more trap work. So I think for me it does balance out, but you're probably not going to get much out of really targeting one on one lift and then the other on another. Because after you do 2 back days, let's say you had one back day that was lat biased and the other one that was, you know, mid back biased. At the end of those 2 days, if you did 2 full back days, I feel like you did the same amount of work. So again, that kind of almost, this has been bothering me too, when people get real specific about what splits they should do. Like, oh, what split should I've been doing the Arnold split. Am I going to get better gains on the push-pull-leg split? Oh, should I do a bro split? You know, insert 100 more pieces of lifting jargon. You know, it's not, you're kind of focusing on the wrong thing. You know, it's, in my eyes, when I look at someone's routine, I think it should follow these criteria, just based on my, you know, personal preference. And if it gets too far, you know, out of reach from what this is, then I would be a little bit like, ooh, full body every day? Okay, interesting. 1 set per each muscle group. How's that been working out for you? You know? So, as a basic rule of thumb, I like hitting every muscle group about twice a week. Just twice a week-ish. And then in terms of sets and volume, probably maybe around 8 for each muscle group. If you're doing a chest day, by the time you've done 8 total sets of chest, I think you should be close to fully pumped, or at least reasonably fatigued and stimulated. If you're getting into like the 15 set range, which I've done it before back when I was a beginner, I was doing 25 sets of chest for my whole chest day. I'd do 5 sets of flat bench, 5 sets of incline bench, 5 sets of dumbbell bench, 5 sets of cable flies, 5 sets of pec deck. Way too fucking much. Like, it's just not necessary, you know? It's so if I had to say anything as a little bit of a maybe a wake-up call to some people, it's you've got to condense your fluff work. If you're doing 3 sets of dumbbell curls with the weight is irrelevant, but 3 easy sets of dumbbell curls, and you put them down at the slightest hint of discomfort, well, I'll just say this: don't expect any fucking gains, right? I'd rather do 1 crazy set than 5, sets with like 10 reps left in the tank, Ugh. So no reason not to push it in my eyes. But I'm gonna cap the gas tank and let's just jump straight to whatever that first movement's gonna be. If I had to guess, I would say, I don't know. We'll find out. 4.5 plates on this old school row. Should be perfect starting. That might even be a little too heavy. Oh, fuck. Okay. I gotta lose to 25. So 4 plates for the next one. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on. I think some heavy T-bar rows ought to be perfect. I always like these handles instead of these ones. Something about the straight bar just doesn't do it for me. Oh, fuck. A little too heavy. Let's drop the 4 plates. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Let's move on to something else. This machine is a freaking treat. It's kind of like, well, it's almost an in-between of a row and a pull down. Like, obviously I'm not pulling straight down like a pull down, but I'm not pulling straight towards my, torso like a row either. It's a nice even combo. and I feel it in my lower lats. I just fucking feel it everywhere. If I had to, you know, pick a certain portion of my back, I'd say everything except for traps, because I am pulling downward. You know, you got to think your back is almost like, how can I even think about it? Like if you're aiming at your lower back, that means you got to pull from up above you, right? To get more traps. And then as this clock handle turns, right, when you're doing a row like this, you're hitting most of your middle back, some traps, some lats, and then the lower you go, which eventually should be down to the sides, that's all traps. If you sort of get what I'm saying. So my thought process during a back day is over the course of the whole thing, I want to hit it from some stuff up here, maybe some shit right here, maybe a little bit of more upper back bias rows. As long as the whole thing's fully pumped up and fatigued at the end of it, then I'm a happy camper. But let's just get fucking real here. Yeah. 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 Oh, take a second. Oh my God. Ah. Ah. All right. So these reps are very easy in that top range. As you pull down, it gets heavier. So my first few reps when I'm strong, of course I can pull it pretty far down. But as I get more fatigued, all I can even manage is just a little bit of contractions up in the stretch position. I think 4 plates is too much. Let's drop to 3, do another one. Oh man. Okay. Let's do some pull downs. Whew. I am way too fucking weak to do heavy pull downs now. So 190. Honestly, just the one feeler rep that I did was already fucking burning my lats. So I think this will be a nasty set. Ooh. Yeah. 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 Okay. Let's take a second. Oh my God. One more, at least, but with a different handle. Oh my God. Okay. Let's make it a drop set. But I think this is the finisher. Oh my God. Okay. Back is pumped. We're done. Let's go pose down. Okay. Drop the exposure. All right. My I don't know if you know about photography. These last few videos have been on a 16 to 35 mil lens. My 24-70, it's coming back from getting repaired, which usually I would like that one because it'll let me zoom in even further. And instead of me being, you know, this far away from the camera, it look like I'm way closer. But who cares about that? Let's fucking see how our lats are looking. Fuck. This is a really good back day. Overall vibe, intensity, and of course, we're about to see fucking pump. We're all fucking on it. Now, if you're curious, and this is not a recommendation, I'm just telling you, the pre-workout meal was about exactly 6 ice cream sandwiches, about an hour and a half pre-training, which, hey, I'll say this, fast digesting carbs. But let's see how we're looking. I mean, you tell me. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Only 2 poses for back. Fucking lat spread and then double bi. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There's sort of this kind of half. Yeah, you have the lat poking out the front. I love it. But you know what I forgot to say on my way here? I fucking crashed my bike today. Maybe not crashed, but spilled it. I'm late to class, so I'm fucking zooming, and I take a sharp left curve. I swear I look like a, what are the motorcycle racers called? Not F1, but, you know, the amount of lean I had was apparently too much. Luckily, all I did was scrape the fuck out of my knee. I would have 250 pounds of lifter falling like straight on my elbow. I'm fucking glad that I didn't hit any of this. I just got a big ass red patch right here. So luckily, the lifts will not be encumbered. Lesson learned, don't be late to class. But I'm gonna hang out here for a bit and then we can get in the car. You asked for it, and actually I asked for it. Incline dumbbell. Actually, what the hell am I even talking about? Oh, I was thinking about incline dumbbell, like half of that whole lift. Because the dumbbells here go up to like, I think there's a, I didn't really look, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 200. 200 is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I think 175, I could see it. I could see it. But yeah, in terms of the back day pump, this was really fucking good. I'm trying to, no pullovers. Yeah. Honestly, that last set of pull downs was pretty much all I needed to seriously burn out my lats. I just didn't really feel like pullovers were necessary. My thought process was a little simpler. Okay, lat pull downs will probably feel good. Let's do one. Okay, that felt really good. Let's just do one more and that's going to be it. And then, well, we saw the fucking back pump that resulted. So I'm starting to get a little, not body dysmorphic, but you got to remember, being lean, at least in like photo and video, it makes you look fucking huge, you know. So when I see my, you know, my lats, my chest, and whatever else pumped up now that I'm kind of bulked up, a little bit softer than my peak leanness, or not a little bit, maybe a lot softer than my peak leanness. It's just making me super excited to cut down in a couple of months, because I know that there's some serious infrastructure being built. And once I get rid of this, you know, ugly layer of scaffolding on the outside, it's going to be quite the sight. Quite the freaking sight. So, if this ended up being a little bit more of an upper back focused day, I can tell I've been doing a lot of lat focused stuff over the past, well, maybe a few weeks. A lot more pull downs and pullovers than rows. And I'm not really surprised by that, because I feel like I want wider lats. Like, I don't really look at my upper back and think, okay, I gotta chill out. My upper back is too big. But I think I'm gonna start adding a little bit more upper back rather than having most of these back days be lat biased. But like I was saying on the way here, it's not the end of the world. If you finish your back day with a full-on back pump, then guess what? I think you're good. Now, if you finish your back day with a scrappy pump and you didn't really push your sets that hard, and well, that's a different story altogether. So I think I'll get into a little bit of a rant on people who don't like straps. What are you doing? No straps? I can't wrap my head around it. And I know the logic. The logic is actually, well, I usually hear two arguments against straps. First one, well, I want to work my forearms too. Fuck, man. I'd rather just do back with straps and then hit forearms directly anyway, and give each of them my full attention rather than, split my effort between the two. But then also, fuck man, when I'm doing pull downs or when I was doing those machine rows, I don't know if you've lifted long enough with straps or without straps to realize it, but your forearms get fucking fatigued, and your brachial radialis, the forearm and your bicep that actually work to bend your arm and not just like flex your fingers and your hands, that stuff is going to be a limiting factor on your sets. Because I feel like the more that my wrists start to give out, or my forearms start to give out from having to be tired from not using straps, it just makes me focus more on my biceps and squeeze the handles harder. I don't know if this is like scientifically backed, but you got to think, you've only got so much mental power, in a sense, to send out signals to your whole body. So if you're doing a set of back, let's say pull downs or rows, whatever, without straps, then you've got to send some fucking signals to your forearms and your biceps and your everything else going on down here to seriously hold on to the bar so you don't fucking let go of it and drop the weight. And I feel like sending those extra fucking signals maybe takes a little bit away from your lats. And then also the fact that you're focusing so much on your forearm from having to hold the shit, I think it's going to make you more prone to use your biceps and your forearms for the movement. And if you're hitting back, or if you're hitting any muscle group, if any other muscle comes into play too much, then, at least for the most part, I would say that movement it's not something I want to do. When I do legs, I don't really love doing a lot of leg presses. I do like some of them. I'm not saying I don't like the ball. But for the most part, whenever I do like a classic hammer strength sled leg press, I feel my glutes taking like half the load of the press. And I'm not trying to hit my glutes, I'm trying to hit my quads. So I say, okay, I don't love that movement. I'll do something that actually works my quads more, like a heel elevated squat or sissy squats or leg extensions or hack squats. So for me, I feel like the name of the game with bodybuilding training is, isolation. I still do compound lifts, of course. I mean, I'm not just doing all pullovers where I don't, move my arms at all. And I don't just do all like pec flies for chest. Right? You still got to do heavy pressing and everything else. But I just think you're going to be better off with straps. And if you haven't used them, just trying them. I mean, me saying this, it's not going to change your mind, whatever. But I will say, at least try straps for a little bit. And then come back to me with, oh, I've never felt my lats this hard before. Because you don't have to focus so much on holding onto the bar or the handle. You can actually just, focus on squeezing. So that's kind of how I feel about it there. And then second argument, well, I don't want to have to rely on my straps. What if I don't bring my straps one day? Whatever. I mean, I've done back days where I forgot my straps. It's not that bad, but I would prefer them for sure. But I don't know if I love that argument. I mean, you don't want to be dependent on it. How did you get to work today? You dependent on your fucking car to work, or you fucking dependent on your Google Maps to show you where to go. I use that same argument with people who say they don't want to use pre-workout. Like, oh, well, what happens if I forget to take it? Just don't forget, I think the benefits of actually using it outweigh the potential risk of like, oh, well, if I forget it, then I'm going to have a bad workout. I don't know, man, just don't forget it. That's all I've got to say there. But that's all I got to say, I think. Solid back day, cardio in the morning, Arms tomorrow. I can definitely feel my forearms right in here are a bit tender from those heavy curls I was doing on the last arm day. So I think I might be a little bit more, let's just say, conservative with the weights that I use for curls. Because even though I was curling the 90s with like, not ease, like those were some fucking hard reps, but that was just a fucking ego lift. I'm using a lot of forearms. So I think tomorrow I'm going to be a bit more isolative with my bicep training. Do a lot more, I don't know, supinated movements. Because with bicep training, this will be my last little note, I feel like there's kind of a gradual transition of load, right? If you do a curl like this, right, like a reverse curl, you're getting a lot of upper forearm, right? Brachioradialis. And then the more supinated your hands gets, right, the more bicep you're going to be using. And then when you're fully, palms upward, you're getting almost all bicep and, minimal forearm. So I think tomorrow I may give my forearms a break. I definitely don't want to tweak anything like that. Because if I were to tweak my forearm in here really good, it's not only going to mess with me for arms, but it's going to feel kind of weird when I do back, and then even when I do pressing movements. So, word of caution. If you can tell you're tweaking something, maybe back off. Maybe just back off just a little bit. But I think that's all I got to say. So I'm fucking starving. I'm sure I'm going to make an absolutely atrocious amount of either McDonald's or Cane's disappear as soon as I get it into my clutches. But don't worry, that's not all. I'm definitely going to have some steak and rice when I get home later, too. But that's it. We can see you next time.